It was a normal neighborhood in Cleveland, Ohio. Tree-lined streets, kids playing, neighbors waving hello. But inside one house, at 2207 Seymour Avenue, was a secret more horrifying than anyone could imagine. For over a decade, 3 young women were held captive, abducted one by one, tortured in silence, chained like animals in the heart of a city, all by one man, Ariel Castro. This is not just a kidnapping case. It's a story of pure evil, unspeakable cruelty, and a miraculous escape that shocked the world. This is the Ariel Castro kidnapping case, one of the most terrifying and disturbing crimes in American history. Ariel Castro seemed normal to most people. Born in Puerto Rico in 1960, he moved to Cleveland as a child. He became a school bus driver, worked for the Cleveland Metropolitan School District for over 20 years, and was even known to play bass guitar in local bands. But behind that ordinary life was a man with a violent temper, a history of abusing women, and a need for control that would eventually lead to one of the worst serial kidnappings in U.S. history. His home at 2207 Seymour Avenue looked average from the outside, faded yellow siding, metal front door. But inside, he was building a prison. Windows were boarded shut, doors had multiple locks, rooms had chains bolted to walls. It was a fortress designed for one purpose: control. And in 2002, Castro's nightmare began. Michelle Knight, the first victim. August 23, 2002. 21-year-old Michelle Knight was on her way to a court appointment to regain custody of her son. She never made it. Lost and desperate for a ride, she ran into a familiar face, Ariel Castro. He said he could give her a ride, and even offered to let her stop by his house to grab a puppy for her son. Michelle agreed. Once inside, the door slammed shut. He led her to the basement, and that's when her world went dark. She was chained by her wrists and ankles, assaulted repeatedly, and starved for days. Her cries for help went unheard. Her missing person case received almost no media attention. Police assumed she had run away. No one was looking for her. And she would remain in that house, invisible and forgotten, for the next 11 years. Amanda Berry, abducted before her birthday. Just 8 months later, on April 21, 2003, Amanda Berry, a 16-year-old high school student, finished her shift at Burger King. She was just 1 day away from her 17th birthday. She called her sister to say she had a ride home. But Amanda never made it back. Castro approached Amanda by saying his son worked at the same Burger King. She trusted him, enough to get into his car. Inside the house, Amanda quickly realized she'd made a mistake. Castro trapped her, took her to the basement, and chained her like Michelle. This time, people noticed. Amanda's face was on the news. Her mother, Luana Miller, appeared on national television, refusing to stop searching.
My nights are getting longer, my days are getting shorter, and my hope is falling.
Her home looks much different since Amanda disappeared. It's decorated with ribbons of hopes and prayers and packed with family and friends. They're all here to raise awareness of Amanda's disappearance by retracing her footsteps. She was last seen at her work at this Burger King on West 110th and Lorraine.
Amanda watched from captivity, helpless. Gina DeJesus, she was just 14. On April 2, 2004, Gina DeJesus, age 14, was walking home from school. She was friends with Castro's daughter and didn't think twice when he offered her a ride. But like the others, she never came home. The youngest of the 3, Gina, was still in middle school. At this point, Castro had 3 women in captivity. He kept them in separate rooms, often chained, with limited food and almost no sunlight. He tortured them physically and psychologically, forcing them to call him Daddy, threatening to kill them, and manipulating them to turn against each other. Gina's case got attention too. Her father worked with police and community leaders to spread awareness. Still, there were no solid leads.
Who do we want? Gina! When do we want her? Now! Where do we
Meanwhile, hundreds of people, including Gina's family, met at this phone booth on West 105th and Lorraine Avenue for a candlelight vigil and prayer. Her friend, Ariel Castro, was with her before they parted ways.
So she gave me 50 cents to call my mom, and so my mom said no, that I can't go over her house. And so I told her I couldn't, and she said, well, okay, I'll talk to you later, and she just walked.
The three women were just a few miles from their homes, hidden in plain sight. Inside 2207 Seymour Avenue, Castro ran his own twisted world. Each woman was chained in a separate locked bedroom. Buckets served as toilets. Windows were screwed shut and blacked out. TV and radio were their only connection to the outside. He fed them once a day, often cold food. He would sometimes starve one woman as punishment for something another had done. Michelle Knight received the worst abuse. Castro impregnated her at least 5 times, but beat her until she miscarried each time. He once punched her in the stomach, then starved her for 2 weeks as punishment. Gina and Amanda were also repeatedly assaulted. Amanda eventually became pregnant, and Castro forced Michelle to deliver the baby in a small plastic kiddie pool. The baby, a girl named Jocelyn, was born in 2006. Against all odds, she survived. Castro's home was in a tight-knit neighborhood. He even hosted barbecues. His bandmates came over. He drove a school bus daily. Neighbors reported strange things: women peeking from the attic, screams at night, doors chained shut from the outside. But police never acted on the tips. Castro manipulated everyone, telling people his house was off-limits, that the screaming was just dogs or loud music. Even Castro's own daughter, friends, and mother had no idea what was happening inside. It was the perfect disguise: the quiet neighbor, the friendly bus driver, the musician. May 6, 2013. Amanda Berry sensed something was different. Castro had left the house without locking the main bedroom door. Jocelyn, now 6, said, "Daddy's gone to Grandma's." Amanda ran to the front door. It was locked, but the outer screen door was not. She kicked, screamed, and called for help. Charles Ramsey, a neighbor, heard her cries and helped break down the door.
I see this girl going nuts, trying to get out of her house. So I go on the porch, and she says, "Help me get out. I've been in here a long time." So I open the door, and we can't get in that way because how the door is, it's so much that the body can't fit through, only your hand. So we kick the bottom, and she comes out with the little girl, and she says, "Call 911. My name is Amanda Berry."
Amanda ran out and called 911.
You need police, fire, or ambulance.
I need police.
Okay, and what's going on there?
I've been kidnapped and I've been missing for 10 years, and I'm here. I'm free now.
Okay, and what's your address?
2207 Seymour Avenue.
2207 Seymour. Looks like you're calling me from 2210. Okay, stay there with those neighbors. Talk to the police when they get there.
Okay.
Police arrived within minutes. Inside they found Gina DeJesus and Michelle Knight, alive. The women were finally free. Castro was arrested the same day. His house was sealed off. In custody, he confessed. His tone was cold. He showed no real remorse. Claimed he was addicted to sex, that he treated the women well. The truth? He was a monster. In total, Castro was charged with 977 counts, including aggravated murder, kidnapping, rape, felonious assault, child endangerment. He accepted a plea deal to avoid the death penalty and was sentenced to life in prison plus 1,000 years. On September 3, 2013, just 1 month into his sentence, Castro hanged himself with a bedsheet in his cell. He never faced the full weight of justice. The house on Seymour Avenue was demolished, torn down by city order. Michelle Knight was given the honor of pushing the first piece of machinery into the house. Amanda, Gina, and Michelle began rebuilding their lives. Michelle wrote a memoir titled Finding Me. Amanda became a news correspondent for missing persons cases. Gina co-founded a non-profit to help victims. They went from survivors to advocates, symbols of resilience, strength, and hope. The story of Ariel Castro is not just one of horror, but of survival. 3 women were stolen from the world and forced to endure unspeakable torment. But they fought, they held on, and in the end, they found the strength to escape. This case reminds us, the most ordinary places can hide the darkest secrets, and sometimes, even in the face of evil, hope survives. Please like, share, and subscribe if you believe these stories deserve to be remembered. And as always, stay aware, stay safe, and look out for each other.